Everyone, I'm Maya Cordero. I'm the Director of Marketing and Events here at the Boulder Chamber. And I would like to thank you for joining us for our Launch and Learn at Home series today, Open for Business, Digital Marketing Strategies to help your business shine. We will hear from panel shortly to give your business tips to stand out right now in the changed landscape. In today's program, we will share with you resources that we have collected about COVID-19 to help your business. We also will have our presenting sponsor, Premier Members Credit Union, and then we'll dive into our conversation about elements of effective websites, brand messaging, top SEO local tactics to get found online, and then of course we'll have our Q&A sessions. So if you have any questions, please add them in the Q&A feature right here on Zoom. The Boulder Chamber has been working with the city, county, and other entities to provide information and resources to your business. Please find this at boulderchamber.com/COVID-19. We also have weekly education sessions with Boulder County Public Health to provide information to your business on reopening during Safer at Home. Finally, we have the Boulder Area Business Response Group on Facebook to share needs and news about your business, so make sure to join that group today. Before we start our conversation, we would like to thank our sponsors for making this event possible. Our presenting sponsor, Premier Members Credit Union, and Connections sponsors, Blue Feather Credit Union, Ego Car Share, The Farm, Gourmet Kitchen Catering, and U.S. Bank. And as I mentioned, we thank presenting sponsor, Premier Members Credit Union, for the generous support. Here to say a few words, it's Matt Rarden, Chief Operating Officer at Premier's Member Credit Union. Hi, Matt.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, appreciate that. And just thank you to the Chamber quickly for putting on the event. Always a important topic for sure, and certainly even more critical for everybody in the pandemic environment that we're in. And as we continue to try to engage with all of our customers, members, as a credit union, our customers are our member owners. So thank you to the Chamber and to Michelle, Marilyn, and Jack for being willing to participate and provide some insight. We are, as was mentioned, my name is Matt Rarden. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Premier Members Credit Union. We're based in Boulder, and we've been doing business supporting the communities in Boulder and across the state of Colorado for over 60 years now, certainly long before we needed to be thinking or even knew what digital engagement meant for folks. And so long history in Boulder, really happy to be a part of the program and be able to have an opportunity to support today and other things, but certainly today in a time where digital engagement's even more poignant. We've got 72,000+ members that we engage with on every aspect of their financial well-being and lives. And so for us, as an essential business trying to stay engaged and continue to communicate, continue to make sure that they're aware of what we have, what we're doing, how we're doing it digitally is critical for us. And we're in the middle, coincidentally, of a digital conversion of our entire digital ecosystem. So obviously, this digital engagement that we all live in, not just an external, member or customer perspective that we have to be worried about, but also certainly internally in how we engage, serve, and work with our employees. And so that digital ecosystem, though it's very robust now, we're already looking into the future, and it started this conversion and integration, reintegration of our ecosystem digitally. And this presents some challenges, right, in terms of all the other things that the COVID-19 pandemic has put on our plates, all of our plates. And so very timely topic. We have to be thinking about how we communicate consistently, and the digital marketing presence and all of the seemingly endless, opportunities that we have. But not only that, all of the ways that we can engage. There's lots of tie-in across every business, across every aspect of every business, how we not only market, but then how we fulfill on the backside digitally. And so if we're doing a great job marketing but not fulfilling, that's a problem. and vice versa. We may be able to fulfill readily in that digital channel, but maybe we're not getting the word out, and so that impacts the entire business. And so this is an important topic, and certainly important to Premier members and all of our members and customers, because they have to engage with us. And this environment is creating new habits for folks. 20 years ago, people were saying in our industry, the brick and mortar branch is going away. It's going to be no longer useful to folks. Well, the reality is they want all of it. They still want, the branch, but they want that digital engagement and that digital communication more than ever. And so we really have to do all of it. We know that we're 20 years later still expanding our physical footprint at the same time that we're expanding and deepening the digital engagement with all of our members. And so I'm very interested to hear personally what Michelle, Marilyn, and Jack have to say, and I'll leave it at that. But want to say thank you again to the Chamber and to the experts today for putting this on, because I know we're all very interested, as are all of our members and customers across all of our businesses. So with that, I'll turn it back over, and thank you guys again very much.
Thank you, Matt. And once again, thank you to our presenting sponsor, Premier Members Credit Union. And now I'd like to introduce our panelists. Today we have 3 experts. We will start hearing with Michelle Dodd. She's the co-founder and technical strategist with Merch Studio. She will be covering elements of effective websites. Then we'll hear from Marilyn Haywood, Paige, Chief Marketing Officer and Partner at Paige Black. She will be speaking about messaging for your brand in the new business landscape. And finally, we will hear from Jack Jostes, President and CEO at Ramblin Jackson, and he will talk about SEO tactics you can take right now to get your business noticed online. So with that, I would like to welcome our first panelist, Michelle. Michelle with Merch Studio. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to have all of you on the call today. We can't see you, but we know you're out there, and we're just glad to have you. We want to give you a few quick hits to help you out, knowing that our reality today is quite a bit different than just a couple of months ago. So we've each put together some things to have you guys start thinking about your online presence. I'm Michelle Dodd. I'm with Merge Studio, and we are a small web design firm. We focus on nonprofits and mission-driven small businesses. What I'm going to go through today is just a few of the highlights of effective websites. It's very hard sometimes to focus on our own website, but I'm going to have you step outside of your business, try to look at it from the outside in. And with that, I'll share my screen and get started. Okay. So the first thing we want to do with your website is clarify your purpose. You want to state who you are and what you do very clearly and very quickly within your website. You'll be surprised at how many websites don't offer this information right away. This is very important so that people who have never heard of you or just heard a little bit about you and haven't learned much about you yet, this is a good way to let them know who you are and what you're doing right away. For instance, this website right here has it stated in a couple of ways. We have, oops, let me go back. Sorry, we have a headline here: Wild Earth Guardians protects and restores the wildlife, wild places, wild rivers, and health of the American West. So right off the bat, you kind of have an idea of what they do. If you're interested in more, you're going to dig a little bit deeper and start reading more. But right away, with any website, you should have something very short and accessible to state who you are. If you have important calls to action, in this case, the same website has a platform for taking donations. they state their mission right away again at the top. So think about different areas where you might have people landing on your site. They're not always going to enter through the front door. And so you're going to want to give them a quick statement of who you are and what you do in multiple places. The next thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you're reflecting your brand. A lot of times people feel like they have to do something different or special with their website. But if you have worked hard to create a brand and to have colors and a logo that represent who you are, you're going to want to carry that through on your website. This is a website for a nonprofit called Healthy Childcare Colorado. They work with childcare organizations across the state to raise the bar on standards. And so they want to, make sure that they have a very simple logo here, but they're bringing in their colors. They're adding a bit of playfulness with building blocks. So think about ways that you can reflect your brand and bring in a little bit of fun, but staying true to who you're working with and the type of work that you do. So be consistent both offline and online. You also want to project success. So when you're redesigning your website or even trying to iterate and enhance it, think about where you're going and who you want to be and project that now so that people who are coming to see you for the first time, they see where you're going, and the more sophisticated and thoughtful your design, the more it will instill trust in your users. You want to use modern type and scannable content. It seems like every year we get a little bit more ADD in our website practices. People don't read anything more than headings, bullets, and short paragraphs until they're really well invested in a website. So this is a portion of the page where we've got just a few highlights of some different work that this organization does. Short headings, big fonts. We are making sure that people can scan and read very quickly and easily in something that feels very modern and current. We don't want to see pages with 5 paragraphs of text unless we're very deep into the website where people are very heavily, they're already sold, right? They're invested and they want to see more. For those people who are people that want to read a lot and dig deep, you give them that content, but it has to be well within the site. So in your homepage and your top level pages, keep it short and use clean and open fonts that are readable. We will include this PowerPoint in the email that'll go out after this. There's a nice little downloadable on web type and ways to choose a good font that's good for your website. I think back here I skipped one. Oh yes, this is another example of using subheadings to break things up. Big fonts that you can scan, things like that. Okay, mobile responsive. This has been around now for over a decade, widely in use. We're still working on getting some of the websites transitioned over to be mobile responsive. It's very important. Over 53% of web traffic in 2019 was from a mobile device. And in organic search, especially, people who are looking up something when they're out and about, they're going to be on their phone. So it looks like a bit more of the organic search traffic is mobile. Maybe people are doing a bunch of research when they're out and about. If they come up with your site It needs to be easily read and transition well for their phone. Okay, now you want to focus your user's attention. And what this means is you're going to have priorities of actions that you want your user to take. So you don't want to have everything taking up all of the attention all the time. You're going to direct them. This is a nonprofit organization that grants wishes for senior citizens. And you'll notice up in the top right in the navigation, we have set apart the donate button. That's obviously a very important part of any nonprofit, is to take in donations. You'll see in this big button down below the hero image, we've got learn more about what we're doing during COVID-19. Everyone's wondering what people are doing during COVID-19. So this is one way to draw attention to that. So you're going to want to use large buttons for your click targets. CTAs are calls to action. You're going to prioritize. Donations might be your number one. Number two might be signing people up for an email newsletter. Number three might be getting people into certain parts of your website. So think about the priorities you have for the users on your website, what you want them to see, what you think they need to see, what they'll be looking for, and use that to prioritize the type of focus you're going to draw to each item on your site. Next, you're going to highlight your features. This is also something that's surprisingly rare. It's becoming more and more done. You'll see the 1, 2, 3, the 3 columns of the top 3 features of something, top 3 services. And this is good because people are going to, again, they're short attention spans. They're going to be scanning and quickly searching for things. So you want to draw attention. Once you've shown them a highlight of your top features, they'll dig in deeper to things that they're interested in. So give them, like a 1, 2, 3 hit of your top 3 things you want to draw attention to. You're going to strive for simplicity. Now more than ever, we do have to keep things simple. We also have to think about how we're organizing content that could be considered complicated. This is a directory website for health center controlled networks. Those are the head offices of community health centers that serve underserved populations across the US. This is a resource guide for them, the network offices, to use to keep in touch with each other, to find out what they're all doing, how they're working, which software they're using, and are they experts in it or not. It's a data-heavy website, but we've really simplified the display and separated out the information so that we're revealing what's most important first, keeping it simple, and allowing them to work their way through in a way that's easy for them to understand and feels simple. So think about if you have a data-heavy website or what you feel is a complicated set of services, think about how you can simplify it, and the top-level pages should look very clean, open, and simple. And as they work their way in to get more information, you can reveal more to them, but keep your top level simple. Another thing we want to make sure we're doing is following conventions. And that's just, we don't want to reinvent the wheel for a website. Users come to a website, they expect a lot of the same things on every homepage. You're going to have the logo in the top left. The logo should link to the homepage. You're going to have your menu. If it's an e-commerce site, up in the very top right corner, you might have their shopping cart so that they know whether or not they added that product to the cart. You're going to have a big heading at the top. Usually you're going to have some sort of hero image. You're going to have a lot of the same things so that users don't have to think about where they are and can instead think about the content that you're showing them. And lastly, We need to think about how to put special notices, on top of everything else that we're drawing attention to. How do we draw attention to something like the pandemic that we're in now and how we're dealing with it? So, you might see a bar across the top of a website that says, we're not open right now, or we have limited hours. Here's what we're doing. Let them know that you've thought about this, that you have information, and if that's what they're looking for when they come to your site, they'll see it right away. Other examples include an overlay. If you want to put more in the message right away, don't try to push it all up in that top bar. Maybe have an overlay or link to another page or like a blog post that gives them the information that they're looking for. Also, make sure that they can, if it's an overlay or a bar, they can get rid of it and it doesn't come back right away every time they visit another page. These are just a few of the typical things we like to see in all websites. We're going to hold our questions for the very end. And with that, I will turn it back over.
Thank you, Michelle. That was great. I even took a few notes for our own website. That was fantastic. Thank you. Now, let's move forward. We're going to continue the presentation with Marilyn Haywood with Paige. She's the Chief Marketing Officer and partner with Paige Black. She will be speaking about messaging for your brand in the new business landscape. Marilyn, thank you for being with us. Take it over.
Hello. Can you see my screen? It should be a big screen of content and messaging in a post-COVID-19 world. Well, thank you everyone for attending. And Michelle, that was wonderful. I completely concur with you. I've seen so many websites that they do not state who they are or what they do on their homepage. You have no idea. They don't clarify their purpose. Their brand is inconsistent. So thank you very much for that terrific presentation. I wholeheartely agree with all of what she said. Just a little bit about who is Paige Black. We are an integrated full-service agency in Denver, and our vision is to inspire companies to do their best work, and we help companies leverage marketing to reach their goals and realize their business vision. So today, I'm just going to take you through 3 different steps. We're going to first and the purpose of this is to readjust your content in light of COVID, because of course, everything has changed, and we need to be reflective of those changes in our brand messaging. So the first thing we're going to do is examine the environment. Then we're going to review our touch points.
Sorry to interrupt, but I don't think we're seeing the full screen of your presentation. If you can please expand that.
Oh, no. I must be on the wrong screen. 1 second, ladies.
It's all good.
Okay. Are you...
If you click present.
Yep, and now click present so you have the slideshow going.
Am I on the right one now? Hold on. So sorry. Beg your pardon. I'm going to stop share, and I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do this. And is that full screen now? Okay.
Yeah,
so sorry. All right. So first is examining the environment. Second is reviewing your touch points. And third is adjusting your messaging. So the first thing that we do is we examine the current environment. And what we want to do is look at the news, the social media. We want to produce and implement some employee surveys and customer surveys, because things are changing very, very rapidly. And I'm quickly going to show you how to go through each of these pieces in the environment to get the information that you need. So here's just an example of some news. This is from the New York Times. Which states are reopening? Which states are still shut down? So what you want to know is, what are your target audiences reading? Are they, Wall Street Journal readers? Are they New York Times? Are they The Atlantic, Rolling Stone, whatever it is, wherever you think they are getting their information from is where you should be reviewing and examining to see what is it that they are learning from their outside environment. So if you know where they are getting their news, go there and read that and keep up on that. So according to the New York Times, businesses are slowly reopening with social distancing guidelines and other restrictions in place. The yellow are shut down or restricted, light blue are reopening soon, and the darker blue have partial reopening. And of course, if you're a national provider of products or services, this is of course very relevant to you. Looking at social media, you want to look at the conversations that your audience is having, some of the sort of higher level places to look for indicators of what's happening in social media. So here's top 10 hashtags on LinkedIn. And in January was marketing, leadership, business, real estate. February was pretty similar. And then in March, we see a lot of change in the top 10 hashtags. So this was actually a list that I got from LinkedIn from a webinar that they did. And unfortunately, you can't Google top 10 hashtags on LinkedIn because I've tried and I've looked in several different places. But here's what you can do. You can find the hashtags that your network is following. So you go to LinkedIn, you click on My Network, and then when you scroll down, what you'll see is a list of the top hashtags that your network is following, and then you can click on to follow them as well. And that's just another way you can keep yourself informed of what is it that is influencing the minds and hearts of my audience. Next thing is I want to encourage you to do some surveys, employee surveys, customer surveys. And the reason you want to do that is because things are changing so rapidly. I was talking with a pollster who works with political parties. He does a lot of political polling, and he's been doing this for 30 years. And he said, I have never seen the changes in polls as I have seen in the last 8 weeks. The mood, the beliefs, the priorities, it's all shifting so very, very quickly, week to week. And I'm sure I'm sure that's not completely new information to you, as you yourself have probably had great shifts in what's on your mind and what is priority in your business. So here was a survey that was done by Glint, which is a subsidiary of LinkedIn, and they asked employees, what are your needs right now? What is most critical? And so job security was number one, family care, up-to-date information on the coronavirus was third, social contact was fourth, and probably, this was done about 4 weeks ago, probably if you did this survey again, it might be different today. So frequent surveying of your employees is worth your time. Also, surveying your customers. So this is a survey that we were putting together about how have you communicated? So we're a B2B agency, and we're talking to our clients, and we're asking, how have you been communicating with your core customers, and what channels did you use? And we used several other different questions to get an indication of where are people focusing? What's important to them? What are they believing right now? What are they fearing right now? What are they putting their time and energy into? Because the more we know about where they're at, the better we are going to be at messaging them in a compelling and relevant way. So once you have looked at your environment, looked at these social media, taken some surveys of your employees, of your customers, then what do you, that's all external, right? So that's our external environment. Then we want to look internally. Let's look at what we have been doing as a brand and our brand communications. But we want to look at these things through a new lens. So the types of things we're going to look at our digital ads, our brochures, our websites, our social media, blogs, email marketing, email signatures. We want to look at anything that touches your customer, packaging, anything that touches the customer you want to look at through a new lens. And what is that lens? Well, we want to look for its relevancy. All your messaging, we want to see, does it matter if it's relevant to COVID-19? Does it need to be relevant to COVID-19? Is it relevant to your target markets? Maybe your target markets have shifted during this time. Is it relevant to your stakeholders? Maybe some of your stakeholders have become far more important to you. Matt is in banking, so the government may be a very important stakeholder for him right now. So maybe some of his messaging needs to be responsive to those kinds of stakeholders. Maybe you are in a business that you are in constant contact with the media, so that's a big stakeholder for you. Is your outward messaging relevant and compelling given the current environment? Product or service shifts. Some people have shifted how they're doing business, what they're selling, who they're selling to. So looking at, okay, wow, we've had this real turbulent time and we've pivoted very quickly and we've been able to be agile. Okay, now what does that mean for our messaging? What kinds of changes do we need to make to speak to these new changes? And then finally, and perhaps most importantly, the trust signals. So how are people knowing that they can trust you? Trust has always been important, always. But now it is essential. It is imperative that your trust signals are clear and coherent. So we've looked at the external. We've looked internally. Now we want to actually create those changes in the messaging to make them compelling and relevant. First thing, we want to take action, right? You came to a webinar, maybe you did all those external examinations, you take action. Some people you're seeing are partnering with other organizations, nonprofits banding together, for-profits banding together with nonprofits, manufacturing companies collaborating on different solutions. Then the third thing is solve, don't sell. We are not in an environment where messaging and actions around sell, 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 it's just going to be viewed as inappropriate, tacky, and desperate. So you want to solve people's problems. You don't want to sell them something. And the one that we're going to be dealing with today, number 4, is communicate with more emotion than facts. So these 4 things came from Edelman. If you don't know about Edelman Worldwide, they are a public relations firm that does fantastic market research into brands, into consumer ideologies, consumer perspectives. So Google Edelman at some point, especially if you are a B2C business, and look at some of the research they have. It's very, very actionable research. Okay, so number 4, communicate with more emotion than facts. Right now, that's important. And as I said before, those trust signals, right? They are really critical right now, but you can't just say, we're trustworthy. That's trite, it's inherently inauthentic. So how do you communicate being trustworthy? Well, you can communicate your competence, how experienced you are, how many problems you have solved for other companies. You can communicate your integrity, how long you've been in business, how the choices that you make, the values that you have, the culture of your business all speak to integrity. Your reliability, again, how long have you been in business? How long has your longest, oldest customer been with you? Anything that speaks to reliability that you can talk about are all things that communicate your trustworthiness. And lastly, especially in this environment, empathy. Communicating empathy is another way of building those bonds of trust. So what does that mean in terms of action? Well, I have here an example of my email signature. And this I consider a very important touch point, and it's one that's often overlooked because you write how many emails every day to clients, to customers, to employees, to stakeholders, and this is a touch point. This is an important touch point. So on my email signature prior to all this, I had a message about download our white paper, what every CEO needs to know about marketing. Great. great white paper, very relevant at the time, but right now that's really not quite the right tone. So I changed it to register for our latest webinar, What's Next? Adapting to the New Normal. And that is speaking to what's on the customer's mind right now. What are they dealing with? We're a B2B agency, so we have companies that are adapting, figuring out how do we go forward, how do we relaunch. So we've put together webinars that are just about COVID-19 survival tips, navigation tips, and so that's what I'm messaging now. In our homepage, we had a very logical point of view. This was I don't know, 8 weeks ago we had, well, no, I guess it was maybe 4 weeks ago we had this website homepage. And what we did was we talked about this is how we do it. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And if you break this down, it's facts and it's logic and it's features and benefits. And so you have words like our 3-step process is the best way to build a marketing system that produces consistent leads. Marketing should be approached in the same considered, deliberate way, based on research, thorough understanding of your current situation. Metrics give you valuable feedback, gain efficiency. These are all words and phrases that communicate facts, logic, features, benefits. What am I going to get? So what I did was I had to now take all of that and put it through that lens of competence, integrity, reliability, and empathy. And so what does that look like now? So here's our homepage now. How this changed is, the first thing is your business has changed. Your dreams don't have to. Empathy. You're not alone. Empathy. Proven strategies. Competence. A reliable lead generation system. Reliability. New shifts in the world. Empathy. Collaborative planning. Uncertainty hurts. More empathy. Having a plan makes the ground feel more steady. Competence. So what I did was I shifted our messaging to this new reality using the lens that I just talked about. I'll reiterate the process. You're going to examine the current environment. That's external. Your social media, the news, take some surveys of your employees, take some surveys of your customers. Second, you're going to review all your brand touch points. Look at your signage, look at your packaging, look at your environment. If people are eventually going to be coming to a brick and mortar office or retail, look at that environment. You're going to need to shift some of that too. All of that is brand messaging, brand touch points. Look at all of those external touch points and what they're saying. And then you want to adjust those messages to be compelling and relevant given the environment that you're in now. And again, through that very important lens of competence, integrity, reliability, and empathy. I have just an offer that's going to be sent to you. Tyler will send it to you in the follow-up email. It's going to be $300 off services to update your brand messaging. So if you don't want to do this yourself, you want us to help a little bit, collaborate with you, happy to do that with you. These are complicated things to do. It can be quite daunting. Sometimes you just need someone to talk you through it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marilyn. That was great. Thank you so much. So great information, so much we can be here talking endless. But I really love your advice about solve, don't sell. I think that's key right now. And then we're gonna welcome Jack Jostes. He's the president and CEO at Ramblin Jackson. He will talk about SEO tactics you can take right now to get your business noticed online. We wanna make sure to allow some time for Q&A. So please add your questions in the Q&A feature. And with that, Jack, take it over. Jack, are you there?
Yeah,
Jack,
sorry, thanks.
Yep.
Hey, thanks so much for having me here. Today, I'm going to share with you Corona Comeback, 3 local SEO tactics that you can go and do today to start getting found online now. And real quick, my name is Jack Jostes, and I'm the CEO at Ramblin Jackson and the author of Get Found Online. I've been a Boulder Chamber member since 2009, and I have to say this is the weirdest time, at least certainly in my business history, and I'm so excited to be here speaking about sales and marketing during this time when we're seeing around the country economy is opening up, and it's absolutely critical that small businesses execute quickly on what's changing so they can open their businesses and have a strong comeback. And today I've got 3 tips. One of them is on your website, what you should be doing on there, how to use video, what to use on your Google My Business listing. I'm going to share 2 case studies from like this week of what's working. And if you stay to the end of my talk, I'm going to give you an offer to get a free roll of toilet paper. It's an emergency reserve and a copy of my book. So stay to the end to see how to win that. So because this stuff is changing so quickly, like as of today, I'm just going to do a screen share of what's changing on Google right now, because man, the last several months have just been crazy. We have several clients all throughout the country, over 40 clients. And I feel really grateful that we've been able to retain 97% of them, because we've been doing a lot of these urgent, quick changes. I think the Marilyn and Michelle, you guys touched on some really great strategic questions that we need to be asking. One of them around Marilyn asking of who is my ideal customer and what will they buy from me now is really a great one. The first thing that we've been doing, primarily working with contractors. I work with landscapers, home repair companies, flood restoration companies. I also work with a handful of other local businesses, is communicating how they're handling COVID-19. So the first thing that I would recommend that you guys do is add a pop-up on your website. So here's a pop-up from a Boulder Chamber member, 24/7 restoration. And people have a couple questions right now. Is 1, are you open? And 2, how are you going to keep me safe if I do end up buying something from you? So this headline here answers very clearly, yes, we're open. And we also put an eyebrow in their website that says, yes, we're open, see our update to the coronavirus. And we built this page to have a really easy to remember URL. It's their domain/coronavirus. This way on the phone, if they're talking with potential clients, they can direct them to this page. And it answers a few key questions of, are you open? What are your hours? Can I pay over the phone? Do you do online payments? What are you doing to keep me and my family safe? And this is where we're going to talk about whatever physical distancing, social distancing, whatever guidelines we're going to be following, and also instructions on how to contact them during this time. So that would be one of my top tips for you guys is to create a page on your website specific to the coronavirus. And this is especially important if you have a retail or a brick and mortar location where these things are changing. I'm seeing, like, over the weekend, I had over 5 clients email me with things that had changed in their state, city, or county that needed to be updated now. And luckily, boom, it's just this one page that we're altering. And then you can share this on your social media. Marilyn was talking about hashtags that you want to be using when you're posting, and it helps people just understand if you're open. Now, the next thing I'd recommend, and this is something that I have a client who's actually thriving right now, because there's an increase in demand for gardening. People are stuck at home. They want to buy plants. They want to revamp their yard. And this client is using video. And right now I'm actually recording some other footage right now on my iPhone on a tripod, and he's using the same setup here, simply putting your phone on a tripod. He does have a basic microphone that I sent him. It's a Rode lavalier mic. They're like $80, but he was able to create a video at the start of this to let people know, hey, we're open. We're doing curbside pickup. We're doing social distancing. We are limiting the number of people in each vehicle. We're doing hand sanitation, and we're able to keep you safe while this is all happening. So video would be my number 2 tip. So the first one would be create a page on your site, and we call this an eyebrow on WordPress, and then adding video to it, talking about how you're keeping people safe with instructions to buy is really powerful, because you can also share this on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn, put it on YouTube, email it out. I really believe it's more important than ever that you're communicating more directly with your ideal customers, with your past customers via text message, phone call, email, and sending along video adds this human element to it. When people can literally hear your voice talking about how you're handling this, it instills a sense of confidence that you are trustworthy, that you're open, and you're worth buying from. That would be one of the tips here. So the next one, the third one that I want to talk about, is actually your Google My Business listing. So Google My Business is what shows up in this case. If you Google 24/7 restoration, they have a location in Longmont and Boulder. It's your map listing. And you can see that there's something called Google Post that shows up in the search results. And Google recently just made another area on your Google listing that you can share an update specific to COVID-19. So if you Google Ramblin Jackson as an example, you can see that I made this update. This literally came out, I wasn't able to make this update recently. 16 minutes ago, I made an update that we are open during COVID-19 and working 100% remotely. So you see this is under this section under COVID-19 updates from business. And if you click learn more, it opens up the page that I made with a video, like I'm saying, about how we're handling this, how this is a time to lead your company, how to take care of people. So I want to take you behind the scenes on your Google listing and show you just how easy this is. A lot of business owners haven't done this. And if you log in at google.com/business, you'll need to have your account. You want to make sure that you own this, you the business owner, not your SEO guy or gal or some agency or somebody else. You want to own this because this is something you should be able to control. So you can see that in my dashboard, I have my latest post here. I made one about this workshop, right? And now people can learn more there. And if we go over to the posts section, we can, we have this COVID-19 area where we can update something. So this is where you're going to want to make whatever updates they are. And I recommend that you let people, again, the questions that they want to know are you open, and how are you going to keep me safe if I buy from you? If you've adjusted the way that you're selling, I have a lot of clients who are doing curbside pickup, or some of them are even doing delivery. You'd want to mention those things in there, because the searches on Google right now for curbside pickup or delivery are skyrocketing right now. I expect that to shift a bit as things start to open up, but the point is, whatever you're doing now can be updated in that Google post. So if you guys, as a recap here, I recommend having a page on your website where you talk about how you're addressing this externally to your clients, internally to your people. 2, include a video on there. And 3, make posts, I would recommend weekly, from your Google My Business listing. People are glued to their smartphones right now. They're glued to social media and the news. And when it comes time that they're ready to buy from you, they're going to Google you. They're going to do more research than ever online. And these things can help you. So if you'd like to win the book and the emergency toilet paper roll, because I want you to get this done now, I want you to go ahead and make a Google post. Go in, log in at google.com/business, make a post, and then take a screenshot of it and email it to me. My email is jack@ramblinjackson.com. And whoever does that first, I will mail this to you. I will disinfect it, and it'll arrive days later in the mail. And Maya, thanks again for having me here. Let's bring it back to you for whatever's next.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jack. That was awesome. Great presentation. And thank you for that little prize at the end. And yeah, Google My Business is such a great tool for us to use. And I'm sure many of the participants here, they've run into the same issue or struggle, which is time, bandwidth. So again, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes just copying a post that perhaps you use in a different platform, you just copy and paste it into your business platform, and that would do it. But it's a great tool too.
And one last thing is you can do it from the app, the Google My Business app on your phone. It's really easy.
Super. So we are almost coming to an end here pretty soon. We do have a few minutes for some questions, if any, here in the Q&A box. So if anyone has a quick question for the panel. In the meantime, I just want to say thank you so much to our panel today. It's been great information. There is so much to do, but thank you. We hope that all the businesses out there are preparing and make sure that they have all the resources are ready to reopen and make sure that their employees and the customers feel safe and secure. All right, doesn't seem like we have any questions yet. All right. All right, so it doesn't seem like we have any questions, but in the meantime, I just wanna thank you everyone for attending. Please note that we will be sharing this recording after this presentation, along with the materials from the speakers. And please join us on Thursday for another Lunch and Learn at Home series. That time, we're gonna be covering mitigating liability and risk in the reopening economy. So you can register online at boulderchamber.com/events. And thank you again to today's presenting sponsor, Premier's Member Credit Union, and all our sponsors as well. I think I got a question here. All right. So I think that's all for today. Again, thank you to our panel. Thank you to all the participants. Make sure to check our website for all the resources we have available for you. Join our Facebook group. It's open to member and non-members. And with that, thank you everyone and have a good afternoon. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.